Hi everyone, welcome to the Parrot Teacher. I'm David. I'm joined again by Fish and Chip, and today we're going to be talking about safely storing parrot toys. You may not think that parrot toys do need to be stored in a certain way, but due to some materials that they're made out of, it is essential that we keep them stored appropriately, especially as we give them to these little guys who have sensitive respiratory systems and it can cause them harm. It's much like with food storage for parrot foods. You need to store everything properly. In this video we're going to talk about some of the reasons why, some of the places you should store them, and some of the ways you can store them safely to keep your little guys happy and those toys in tip-top condition. Now you may ask, well, what does it matter about storing parrot toys, especially plastic ones and all sorts of things like that? However, improper storage of parrot toys can lead to issues such as mould. It can lead to damage, even of plastic toys, if they're sort of rubbing up against each other and damaged. It can also lead to bugs as well, and bugs is probably the most dangerous thing out of them because you do not want that. There have been reports by some people of getting bugs, and that from some retailers their toys have even come with bugs, so it makes it even more important to make sure that these toys are sourced from good retailers and are stored properly, and you just make sure that everything is nice and safe and okay for your little ones. The first thing I want to talk about is where you should store your toys. Just like parrot foods or human foods, you need to store them in a cool, dry place. That means somewhere it's not going to be humid, not damp. That means it's not ideal to store them in garages, in lofts or kitchens. However, there is a small caveat to this. If you do have sealed containers or the toys are sealed in a big plastic box or sealed up, you can probably get away with this, especially if it's in a loft or inside. It's so important to make sure that no moisture gets them, especially if they're natural toys, because that can lead to all sorts of damage like decay, like mould, or potentially bug infestations. Similarly with the plastic, you may not have to worry about putting them in cool, dry places. However, damp can get to them and you can see mould colonies grow on them as well. It's not something we've seen ourselves or had reported to us, but I have heard people mention it on forums, and even though you can just wipe it clean, if you don't notice it, that could be an issue. Next thing I'd like to suggest is if you've got lots of toys, storing them in organised plastic storage containers. These could be sealable, so you could be able to store them in a loft, for example, or they could be open top if you're storing them in your living room or somewhere that is cool and dry. The great thing about these is it keeps them all organised, but not only that, it allows you to see if there are any issues. For example, if you did have any bugs, they'll be all at the bottom and they wouldn't be able to get out and infest other toys, and it just allows you to keep everything nice and safe and organised, so you know what's going on with your parrot toy, and so you can just get them out easily and they're easy to store. Leading on from this, it can be useful to group your toys up into different types. For example, having plastic toys in one container, having palm leaf in another, etc, etc. This allows you to keep an eye on them and also know what sort of problems you're going to face in each container, if you are going to face any. Similarly, when you're reaching for your toys, it makes it kind of easy to just say, oh, I want to pop a palm leaf in there now, I want a bolter one. Reach in, grab it and pop it in their cage. It's very good for organisation and it's very good for safety too. Just wanted to show you guys an example of our storage. We have these lovely big plastic containers. We've grouped things into different categories. We have palm leaf in there. We have another palm leaf and some wooden toys there. We have an odd bits box there. Over here we have sort of plastic and extras, and then we have our plastic containers over here, just to make sure everything's nicely organised and easy to inspect and pick from. My last point, and probably one of the most important ones, is to inspect the toys when they arrive. If you get a new toy, make sure you check it out before you give it to your parrots. Give it a good look, potentially disinfect it with F10 if you want to be ultra cautious, and make sure that everything's okay with it. As I mentioned before, there have been some reports about toys having bugs from retailers, and you do not want that getting into your house. We've seen some of the photos, it's not good. As well, it's worth regularly inspecting your toys, especially the natural material ones, even the plastic ones, to make sure there's nothing chipped, nothing damaged, nothing rusted, etc, etc, and making sure that everything is okay. Me and Sophie regularly inspect our toys to make sure everything's okay, and if there's any concerns, we either clean them or just dump them straight in the bin, because our parrots' safety is paramount. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If there's anything you'd like to sort of learn more about, or any comments you have, please feel free to leave them down below. But in the meantime, from me and Chip and Fish is chasing Chip onto my head, take care and see you later.